Hey friends, my name is Nishant Sharma, and for close to 2 years I have been working with a private school as an English teacher. I am making this video to help those of you who are contemplating to become an English teacher. I will be sharing my experiences, my job duties, and my inner fulfillment with all of you. So let's get rolling. Friends, the number one task of an English teacher is to be inspiring, is to be motivating. Because unlike other subjects, an English teacher deals with the spirit, soul, personality, character, texture of the students. And these are teenage students, in some cases even younger ones. As an English teacher, the number one task and the most important task, the crucial task, is to be a good role model, is to be a good person inside and out. Because in stories after stories, in poems after poems, which you will be required to read out in the class, the students are going to learn values like tolerance, faith, beauty, acceptance, forgiveness. And if you as an English teacher do not demonstrate those values, then it's just going to sound very hypocritical. So an English teacher has to walk the talk, has to actually imbibe all of those values that he or she is going to take up in the classroom. So that's I believe the biggest challenge, because you can't fake this. If you are not a good person, if you don't believe in liberalism, acceptance, secularism, belief, faith, it's going to be very hard for you to fake it for more than a week or 10 days, let's say. Number two task of an English teacher is to be motivating no matter what. You've got to motivate the students. You've got to look them in the eye, and no matter how absolutely devastated they are, you've got to look them in the eye and tell them that they can do something with their lives. That if they are on this planet, then there is something which requires their contribution. That the world will be lesser if this person, if this boy or a girl in front of you did not live up to his or her full potential. And if you understand these things, if you understand liberalism, faith, tolerance, acceptance, non-discrimination, and all of these secular progressive values, and also values such as a faith in religion, in a way, I believe an English teacher does nothing but teach a lot of religion, but in a secular way. So you've got to have not just progressive values, but even some tried and tested traditional values within your soul. And both of them, both the progressive side, the scientific temperament, and also the traditional, faith-centered belief, have got to coexist within you in harmony as equal and opposite but equally necessary forces. And in that way, an English teacher will be a very balanced person. Because you see, in this time and age, English department the world over is often infamous for being very woke. They are very radical, they're always shrilly talking about radical freedom. But on the other hand, you don't want to go to the other extreme either and become very, very traditional or very, very orthodox. So an English teacher has got to have a balance of both the progressive values without becoming radical or woke, and also the traditional values without becoming orthodox or rudimentary, or, as we say, Rudivadi in Hindi. Now comes the task of actually teaching. So you've got to be very, very organized when you are teaching those texts. And with every text, you've got to put in your complete faith, your complete dedication, your complete, thrust behind it. It's got to be all or nothing. Because as I said, an English teacher, unlike maths or a science teacher, is dealing with the souls, the, personality, the minds, the characters of the future. And it's a country in microcosm. In each one of the students, it's a country in microcosm. It's a society in microcosm. So you've got to take your job very, very seriously. Because the world has had so many brilliant scientists who have used their intellect in a very devastating way, in a very negative way. So it's not just science that is required, but also science with morality, with ethics, with a love for humanity, and that is something which an English teacher, by his or her nature and also profession, is quite proficient and professional at radiating forth. Now, this is the main job of an English teacher, that is to teach the syllabus, as I said, not just in a formal way, not just as a formality, but also with dedication, with genuine love and passion for the subject, and treating each boy or a girl as if they are a country in microcosm, as if they are a society in microcosm. Number two, if you are working at a school, then as an English teacher, you will be required to make circulars, WhatsApp messages, you will be required to make, emails, or even help with the social media, because as an English teacher, obviously your work is to write English, and it will be expected that you would be quite proficient in framing persuasive sentences. Yes, so reports, circulars, messages, email, newsletters, and social media messages. English teacher, if required, has to help in all of these departments also. Number three, I believe often this also tags along as something which really fits in with this whole package of an English teacher. That would be a career counselor. See, an English teacher generally is a very well-read person. He is a very broadly read person. And as a broadly read person, as someone who loves to read every day, ideally speaking, an English teacher becomes a very powerful instrument for bringing diverse knowledge and converging all that knowledge at one place. And in that way, in the role of an career counselor, an English teacher becomes quite important. He has the required openness of the mind to be very, very sensitive to all the changes happening around. And because that teacher is working at a school, then obviously an English teacher, a teacher, would be quite interested in the welfare of the children. And because he or she reads broadly, then what's happening in the world, the kind of careers that are thriving, the kind of talent that we require, the kind of personality that matches with a certain career or a certain field, all these questions become very compatible with the personality, with the portfolio of an English teacher, and also with the skills of an English teacher. So yes, a teacher teaches with a lot of passion. A teacher creates messages, reports, circulars, social media messages, and emails. Then an English teacher also is in a very, arguably potent position to become a career counselor. Yes, basically an English teacher is also often the face of an organization. So every time there is a stage event, every time there is something to be written, an English teacher would be the first or second choice to be offered the microphone or the pen or the keyboard to write something, whether in a written form or in a spoken form. So these I believe would be the roles of an English teacher. But one more thing I would say, that an English teacher who's also a class teacher is obviously morally obligated to transmit a lot of morality because these are teenage children, these are young children we are talking about at school. They're not graduates, they are not college students. A college student would be doing their own thing, you would expect them to be a little more grounded, a little more sorted out, but not with school students. School students are quite malleable. They are quite like clay. You can mold them in different ways. So as a class teacher, an English teacher would be required to act as a force, as a source, as a well of morality, of things such as even life skills, organization, productivity, mental health, tolerance, love, coordination, cooperation, and all of these things, so that the classroom is healthy, so that all the children are learning soft skills that will be required in the future. So, yep, these are all the roles of an English teacher, and everything which I've spoken in this video are from my experience. Obviously, I'm still learning, but as of now, that's all I have to say. So if you are thinking to become an English teacher, good luck. We need more people like you, because the world requires good people. The world requires good people in the future also, and teachers deal with the future generation. Teachers deal with the leaders of tomorrow. So back yourself and root yourself in idealism, in being hopeful, in being a ray of light, of productivity, of love, of hope in this world which is often very dark, right? Because children look into your eyes and they expect you to give them love, to give them affection, to give them hope, to make them good people, right? Because deep inside, children are really lonely. Parents do not have time for their own kids. And children, without even knowing, they look into your eyes every single day in the morning, and it's such a moving sight. And they expect you to teach them something, to make them good people, to make them moral people. And you should look them in the eye, have meaningful conversations with them. My God, these are 14, 15, 16-year-olds, confused as hell, disillusioned as hell, boys and girls. They look up to you, you know. In some ways, I believe an English teacher, a literature teacher is a God's person, is a pastor, is a priest in a secular form. And literature is religion in a secular language. So never forget that. Good luck. Thank you. Namaskar.
Out of the city, away from the town. I thought heaven can help me now. Nothing lasts forever, but this is gonna take me down. So tall and handsome as hell. He's so mad, but he does it so well. I can see the end as it begins. My one condition is
Say you remember me.
standing in a staring at the sunset rays, red lips and rosy cheeks.
Stop
Say
it.
you'll see me again, even if it's just in your wildest dreams. Ah, 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 yeah.
Yo.